struggling right now. I'm really worried about small businesses and the pain that small business owners are going through right now. It's an incredibly difficult time. Just reading through the papers this morning, all these businesses are being disrupted. And I worry for not only the employees of those companies, but the people that run them. The mental strain must be tremendous. So I'm putting myself out there and saying I'm available to help. And I want to make sure that I am doing whatever I can to help people through this difficult time. I have personally built 17 companies from scratch. I know what it's like to build a business. I had a business in Hong Kong during the SARS virus called Fluid. I actually managed to grow that business through that pandemic. So I've experienced something similar to what we're experiencing right now with the coronavirus. And I feel I have relevant experience when it comes to helping anybody out there that might be struggling with their business and want some support. So I really want to make sure that I'm here for anyone that's having a tough time right now and wants to, for example, start a business and break out of the difficult feeling they have of just being stuck at home with nothing to do. Equally, I want to help anybody that's stuck, any small business owner, anybody that can't quite figure out how to pivot their existing business and move things forward. I want to help you, so I'm here. So I'm just going to check online if I've got any questions. So excuse me while I just look down at my laptop for a moment, folks, and see what's going on. Are you guys all okay? Hey Quentin, how you doing? Happy to give you a shout out. Thanks for coming online and saying hi on this Saturday night. It's a little bit of fun, hopefully a little bit of useful content. If we can come up with some good questions tonight, maybe I can help some people out there that are struggling or finding it tough with their businesses. That's my whole purpose in life, is to help entrepreneurs. I want entrepreneurs to not feel alone. If you're thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, my mission is to help you on that path. I've done it myself many times. It can be a wonderful thing to build a business that you're passionate about, build something with purpose. So I want to be the person that helps you do that. So let me try. That you're passionate about, build something with. But have applied for jobs. Hi Jasmine, sorry, I just was getting everything ready for the live, so I missed that question. But you've applied for jobs, have you? How's that going? How's the situation on the job front? You've applied to a lot of jobs, yeah. I think the job market might be quite hard right now. Yes, I agree, Eva. Lockdown is a bit boring. It's part of the reason that Saturday night I'm going to go live every night, actually, until we're out of this lockdown, and just try to relieve the boredom. But my thing is, I love business. I love helping people with their businesses. Anyone out there that is struggling, anyone that has a small business that's finding it tough right now, I want to help you. Equally, I want to interview people that are managing to turn things around. If they're pivoting their business, they're making changes to survive. I would like to interview you on my podcast show, The Good Luck Club. Oh, hi Meg. How's Liverpool? Thanks for joining me all the way from Liverpool. We're in London here. I say me. I'm in London. I can't wait till the time I can go to Liverpool again. Absolutely love it there. Okay, guys, I think we're live on all channels now, so I just want to make sure I'm not going to miss or haven't missed any questions coming up. I'm here to answer your questions. If anyone is stuck business-wise right now, perhaps I can help you. I have been through a similar virus in Hong Kong in 2003. I had a business called Fluid, which I sold in 2016 to PwC. But that business I started in 2001, but went through the SARS virus in Hong Kong. So I've experienced a pandemic before, and I know from experience some of the things you can do to survive, make sure your business survives during this tough time. Equally, if there's anyone out there that's thinking of starting a business, I want to help you. I want to support you. I am producing content right now absolutely for free, just to help people that might want to start their own business right now. So I just produced a video, the 8 steps required to start a business from scratch. And actually it doesn't require any money. A lot of people think you need a lot of money to start a business. That's absolutely not true. Out of the 17 companies that I've started, 11 of them I started with absolutely no money. In fact, I often think the best businesses start with no money at all. So that's not a thing you need. So Eva, what I can do to help? Well, first of all, I am an investor, so I know how investors think and I know what investors are looking for, so I do understand the money piece. I personally built businesses from scratch, so I understand the concept of what a brand is, how important it is to build a brand, not a business. I can help people think about things like, it's not really, you should never sell time, you should try to invest and buy time. So it's all about building a business that's scalable. Hey Derek, how you doing? You want to be on the podcast? Okay, cool. Maybe you can go to my website, simonsquibb.com. Just send me a note about what you're all about, Derek, or you can just let me know on this system now what's your business and how your story might be valuable to my podcast listeners. For me, it's all about giving information to the podcast folks. I want people out there to be inspired by entrepreneurial stories that will help people through this difficult time. I want to encourage people to start their own businesses. You might find it hard to find a job right now if you're leaving university, for example, and my pitch is you could start your own business. In fact, my argument is even you don't need to go to university, which is not necessarily a popular opinion, but I'm a firm believer that you don't need to go to university. You can actually invest that money and that time, those 3-4 years you might put into university, into actually starting a business. That's what I did. It meant I could retire at 40, which was exciting, and I feel like it's another way to go. It's not the only way to go. I believe education is built for some people but not for others, so it might not suit you. Eva, your question is my job just to help people in business? I don't really have a job. I'm retired now. But I think in particular around this present situation with coronavirus, I'm really pushing and working quite hard again, trying to help people get motivated maybe to start a business. I guess my dream would be to motivate someone to start a business that innovates and invents things that are going to help people in the next 10 years get through this financial tsunami we're now going to go through and hopefully fight back against the coronavirus damage. So I'd love to help people start businesses that are going to, for example, ensure that people get employment, that can help small businesses survive. I really want to do everything I can to ensure that small businesses are still here at the end of this 2 or 3 month coronavirus lockdown. I really want to be a part of the solution of ensuring that small businesses survive, and so that's why I'm now working again. I have a real, I guess, bee in my bonnet about wanting to help entrepreneurs. I don't want them to feel alone. Hi, Justin. Yes, I do remember you. Yeah, we last time I was online, you won all the competitions that I played around on. So well done. You were pretty quick on the keyboard, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I remember you. Okay, so I'm just looking online to see if there's any questions yet, and okay, cool, yeah. So I have a question from Mark on Facebook, and Mark is asking, how do you start a business with no money? It's a good question, Mark. There's a good question, Mark. That makes me laugh. I think it's basically not easy to start any business, and so a lot of the time people will say, I can't start a business because I don't have any money. And my argument always is there's quite a lot of things you can do before money even becomes important to get a business up and off the ground. So my thing is, you don't need to start a business with money. There's plenty of businesses you can start that don't require money. And even the businesses that do require money can be built without money. So for example, one of my first companies, I left school at 15 and I started a company. And that company was a gardening company. And I managed to start that business by knocking on people's doors and saying, I will take care of your gardens. People said yes, then I asked for a 50% deposit from those folks. They trusted me, they gave me that money, and with that money I bought the equipment that I needed. And then I did the work, and then I got the final payment, and that's how I built that business. So that gardening company that I grew from nothing into something quite substantial, actually no money. It was just using my brain, using your energy, and figuring out ways to make it work. So that was, to me, what was the main thing about building a business with no money. It's one of my main examples. But I've built many companies since then. So even my agent's business, I had a very successful agency business called Fluid, which was HQ'd out of Hong Kong. I built that business initially with nothing. I brought in a partner who was able to do all the creative side. I did the marketing side. We won clients' work, and then we did the work and they paid us, but all it actually required was our time. So we didn't need a lot of money at the beginning, and then we hired people as we won more work. So there's just so many different ways to make a business work with no money. So I really want people to know that money piece don't use it as an excuse not to start a business. I'm not saying you're never going to need money as you build up your business. Of course you're going to need money. I just saw Alex just click like on one of my posts. Thanks, Alex, nice to see you. Alex is a good example of an entrepreneur who I know well, who built a business from scratch. When he built it to a certain point, then he raised money. He actually raised money from me. And so he raised money from a lot of people. And there comes a moment when businesses do require money, but most of the time in the early days, it doesn't require money. It requires brain power and energy and effort. And even the businesses that require money, let's say product businesses, there are so many ways now to start a business without money. So for example, if you have a product idea, you can do a good video about that product, and then you can put it on a crowdfunding site, and then that crowdfunding campaign can lead to awareness and revenue, which can then fund you to go and start building that product out. So can you have a business at a young age? Yes, I totally think there's no age restriction on starting your own business. I started my own actual first company at 15 years old, but you know, like a lot of entrepreneurs, I was selling stuff at school and doing things when I was younger that I guess you could construe as business. But I always say to people, the younger you start, the better. The older you get, the more complicated it gets to start a business, I think, because you have to give up your job and give up your revenue and worry about that kind of opportunity cost loss. Whereas when you're younger, I think you've got less to lose. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what age for me. Whatever age, I think you can start a business. I think, of course, if you're very young, you need to get your parents to support you and help you and guide you. But I don't think age is ever a restriction. In fact, I would argue that if I was starting a business today and I was young, I would think that you know a lot more about TikTok than the older generation. You could probably sell a product or two to people on TikTok, whereas the older generation don't necessarily understand it. So yeah. Hello from Canada. Hi, welcome. Wow, that's a long way away. I'm a big fan of Canada. I drove from Seattle to Canada and absolutely loved it. One of my favorite trips. Gosh, I can't wait for the time when we can travel again, folks. I miss seeing other countries and connecting. Hello, Alex from Ireland. How are you? Wow, I also love Ireland. I visited Ireland for a few times for a few reasons, but I absolutely love it there. I miss it very much. Dublin's a beautiful city. Are you in Dublin, Alex? Okay, so I'm just checking if I've got any questions online. Oh, you're from Cork, Alex. Oh, I love that part of the world. Absolutely beautiful. So I just want to make sure everyone's okay. It gets... Hi, Andy. Yeah, where do I get my business inspiration from? That's a good question, actually. I think business inspiration for different people comes from different places. For me, my parents were both entrepreneurs. My drive comes from the fact that my father died from working too hard, but he started his business too late in life. So that was my take on it. So he died when I was 15 years old, and in a way that motivated me to get out there early and work hard and build a business. I didn't want to do what he did, which is basically start being self-employed in his 40s, and it was very stressful for him at that time because he had mortgages and 4 kids, one of them being me, to support. So he, it was not easy for him, and I guess at 15 years old, I kind of saw it as a motivation to start young, and that made me want to not work for someone else as well, because I felt like if I worked for someone else, they could just fire me like they did my father whenever they want, or just let me go when they feel like it. Whereas if I own the business, I have my own business, no one can stop me, as it were. So yeah, it's one of those things. I think everyone has their own motivations as to why they might start a business. I think it's good to tap into that purpose. So I started my own first business at 15 years old. I left school and I left home, which is crazy. And I look back, I left home and school at 15 and started a business. And I worked non-stop until I retired at 40. But it's not for everyone. I'm not saying that's necessarily the right path for everyone. It was the right path for me. I've had a wonderful, wonderful life, but I definitely was motivated by seeing what my parents did wrong and what my parents did right, and I wanted to have a different life. I didn't want to be working very hard later on in life. I wanted to work hard when I was young. So that's why I always say to people, start a business as young as you can. Again, it's not for everyone, but... Hi Jake, how you doing? Do you think investing is good? I think investing in yourself is the best thing you could do. I do invest in companies too. I invest in myself, I have done. I've started 17 companies of my own, so I always think the best thing to invest in is yourself. I've tried investing in stocks and shares. It's not been good for me. I don't like the idea of giving my future over to someone else. I like the idea of being in control of my own future, so I like to invest in businesses I can either be involved in or I'm running myself. If you just throw money at the stock market, to me it's gambling. I'm giving my money to somebody else and hoping that they do the right thing, which they don't always do. And I'm hoping that they build a business that's going to make me money. So I don't want to rely on other people, so I don't invest in that way. I prefer to invest in companies where I can be a help, I can contribute, I can support, I can be a part of ensuring that business is successful. I like to invest in businesses, of course, that I'm running, because I'm investing in myself by doing that. I always worry if you invest in the stock market, the recent highs and lows, exactly Sean, 30% drop in the stock market recently. I'm glad I'm not part of any of that. I don't want to be staring at a screen stressed because someone else is running into trouble in their business and nothing I could do about it. It's very, very, I want to say unempowering is probably not the right word, but it's not. I don't feel empowered if I don't have ability to at least contribute to solving the problem. And sometimes if you just invest in companies, it's not very rewarding and it's a bit stressful, and I don't really see it. Yeah, I know the stock market goes up and down all the time. I mean, I always look at it, basically, I like to invest in things that I enjoy. And so if I invest in a business that I can run and I can enjoy it, then it gives me the lifestyle I want. That's a great investment. If I invest in stocks and shares just to make money, there'll be times when I make money, there'll be times I lose money, but it's not that interesting. It's just about money. It's not about that being a part of that business success. And I don't think money is the answer. Money only makes you happy if you're already happy. So if you're just chasing money by investing in the stock market, for me it's a bit hollow. A lot of people made money in it, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't make money in it. I'm saying I don't find it very rewarding. So, oh hi Sean. Your question is, how do I find time to run 17 companies? I do not run 17 companies. I've started 17 companies. I tend to run one company at a time, but I have invested in over 60 businesses. But again, I'm not running those companies. I've invested in other people who are running those businesses. So Alex, who just made a comment on my YouTube live, I invested in his business. So I basically invest in other people's businesses. That's my thing. But I like to invest in businesses that have a strong purpose. I like to invest in good entrepreneurs like Alex, who's just made a comment on my YouTube account. And I like to invest in people that are passionate and ensuring that I can contribute in some way, not just financially, but also I can use my brain power and my experience to help them. So my two models are I basically run my own companies, which now I only have one, which is the Good Luck Club podcast and the simonsquibb.com platform. And all previous companies, like my last company, which was an agency called Fluid, which was based in Hong Kong. I sold that to PwC, the accounts company, in 2016. So, I tend to run one company at a time, but I've, over the years, run 17 businesses. Jonathan, you're asking me what percentage I take. It depends on the company, and it depends on the founder and what they're selling. But I've run the gambit. I've kind of done the Dragon's Den style investing, where you take 20-30% in the business and being very actively involved. I've also taken 1 or 2% in a business as a passive investor, where I'm supporting them, but I'm not at the beginning. They're very early, for example, so the value's up. So I really don't mind. I mean, to me, percentage in the company doesn't really matter, Jonathan. I always think about it like I want 1% of Facebook, not 51% on MySpace. So it's not really about percentages. And again, I only invest in businesses that I enjoy being involved in. So, Andy, your question is, are you usually approached to sell the business, or do you actively seek to find a buyer? Okay, so my take on this is I never build a business to sell it, never. I think the best way to sell is not sell. So, for Fluid, for example, it was a successful business that made money, and I just enjoyed that business. In fact, in 2016, I wasn't even running the day-to-day. Someone else was. Guy Parsons, a very talented individual running that business every day. I was the chairman of that company, so I wasn't even having to run the day-to-day of the business at that point, and it made money. And it was a good company. I was really proud of the work that it was producing and pleased to be associated with it. So I didn't really need to sell it. But when PwC approached us to buy it, they just, in the end, made an offer we couldn't refuse, and it just made sense to help that business grow to the next level, to partner up with a big corporation. So, but I never really went out and there and tried to sell the business. What I focused on, and I suggest everyone does this, is I focused on making the business successful. If you make the business successful, people will always then want to buy the business. People always want to then invest in the business. So I don't think you need to spend too much time trying to sell it. Just build a good business. Hi Jay, nice to see you. Thanks for coming on, nice to see you. Yep, all good here, thanks. So I'm just going to check what's going on the other channels and just see if I have any questions. Oh, hi everybody. Wow, I've just seen my YouTube. Oh, okay, so I've got loads of questions here. Sorry, I missed one stream. I didn't realise. Yes, there is a dripping tap in the background. That's very good sound. That's quite a way away. The fact you can hear that is pretty impressive. So, Stefan, I've just seen your message. Sorry, I'll answer it now. Well, I'll say the question out loud for the other people listening. Do you think it's a good time to start with digital marketing consultancy agency to help small business owners keep themselves visible? Stefan, I think that's actually a really, really good idea. I think there's always room for one more service-based business. And I think if you can help small businesses right now, that would make a huge difference. That's actually something that's really dear to my heart. So you're touching on something that I'm really passionate about as well, if I can help you with that, Stefan, please let me know. I'm going to write that. That's a good question on here, because it really is. And I totally agree that it's an opportunity. I have built an agency from scratch, so I know a lot about that. Why don't you go on to simonsquibb.com and just send me a message, and I will do my very best to help you a little bit with that. But I think it is a good time. I think digital in particular, online, is now totally going to be the future for every small business. Just at the end of my street, there's 2 or 3 small businesses with really nice people that run them that absolutely need to get online. People are not walking into their shops anymore, of course, and so they need to have an online piece, and they haven't got one. And so if you could help these small businesses get online and then market themselves, I absolutely think that's a very big business. Hey, Michael Short! I'm very excited you're there, my friend. I am live on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. So I'm multi-channel managing right now, but it's great to see you, mate. How is life? I'm going to say, hey, Michael. Thanks for watching my YouTube video earlier, Michael, and giving a comment. I was saying, I had a video earlier that I did 8 steps to start a business from home with no money. And Michael, who's just said hey on my YouTube channel, watched the video right to the end, and not everyone does that, so thank you very much, Michael. And he gave a comment at the end. I basically, one of the main things I said was, once you've built a business up, the hardest thing, and Stefan, you might want to listen to this, one of the hardest things is to sometimes say no to business or no to opportunities. I know for anyone that hasn't built a business, that might sound a little bit crazy. When you build a business, you might say yes to everything, but actually part of the discipline of building a business is learning to say no. And Michael was kind enough to recognize that. But Michael Short is himself a very knowledgeable business person, so he's going to understand the power of no. It doesn't surprise me. So let's see. Oh, hi, Noel. Nice to see you again. Thanks so much for joining. I'm going to just recognize you here and then say, so Noel, very good question. I think photography is a big business. It's a little bit tough face-to-face photography right now, but if you could do, say, workshops on how people could take good pictures, or perhaps you could help people with things like I'm doing right now, live broadcasting, image-based communications. I think helping people by maybe they can take their own pictures, or you could advise them. Like today, for example, Connor Wells, who helps me, as you know, Noel, with all my stuff, all my editing and all my video creation. He's an absolutely fantastic photographer as well. He actually helped me today understand how to take a good picture with the portrait function on my iPhone. And so without that advice, I wouldn't know how to do the thumbnail that I've actually done today for this video. So, I mean, just perhaps putting yourself out there as someone that can jump on Skype or Zoom or FaceTime and advise people on how to take a good picture could be a pretty interesting business right now. So I've got a question here that is quite interesting from Abdul. Hi, how you doing? How did you get the capital for your first project? So for those that don't know me, I've started 17 companies from scratch. I've invested in over 60, and my first 13 companies didn't require any money. I started them all with no capital. And so the first one, as you've asked the question there, Abdul, was a gardening company, and I didn't have any money. But I started a gardening company. So you might ask, right, okay, well, how did you do that without any equipment? So what I basically did is I knocked on people's doors and I said, hey, I would like to take care of your garden, and I'm going to charge you £500 a month to do so. Do you want me to do that? People hopefully would say yes, or they did say yes, and not always said yes, but some did. And then I would ask them, is it possible to please then have a 50% deposit, which I then got paid, and then I took that capital and I bought the equipment that I needed. So therefore, that basically gave me the starting up piece that I needed. Now, as I grew the business, and I needed to hire people. There was a cash flow requirement, so I got an overdraft from the bank, and that allowed me to I guess have a payroll system and then invoice people for the work I was doing, and allowed me to scale up the business. I got a lot of the equipment as I scaled it up through credit, so lease hire and so on, so that allowed me not to have massive capital expenditure. And as the business grew, then I could start buying all the equipment that I needed. Hi Sean, your question is, if I had only £30,000 right now, what entrepreneurial venture would you pursue? Okay, first of all, be very careful with any sort of money sitting in the bank. Don't look at it. I always think if I start a business, I always look at it like I've got no money. It almost doesn't matter how much money I've got. I always look at it, how can I start a business with no money? So I think that £30,000 in a way, just park it, because you're going to need that as a runway to pay your bills and to make sure you don't have any stress early on. So I would think about how I can build a business with no money and not use up that capital up until a point where you've got what I call a proof of concept. That might be a minimum viable product, or that might be a working model that I can scale up. Then there's a few ways after that. Of course, I mentioned earlier, for those that missed it, you could perhaps, if you had a product business, you might be able to put it on a crowdfunding site and get some money in advance from people for your product idea, so it doesn't require you eating up your capital that you've got there. That's one way to go. So there's just so many ways to do it. But what business would I do? I mean, anything online right now. Of course, anything online related. So yes, Noel, I've got the questions coming in from Facebook and from Twitter, and I'm also on TikTok. So lots of different places. But I'm trying to answer your questions. Well, I'm just recognizing the feed on YouTube now. So yeah, there's a spider on me. Is there really? Okay, well, welcome, spider. Okay, so just checking I haven't got any questions that I've missed. Okay, sorry. Hi Abdul, what were the other 12 companies? Okay, wow, it's a long history. I have done so many businesses. So one of the other businesses I had was called Hotel City, and basically I noticed that hotels people would, in the old days, before you used to book all your rooms online, people used to ring up a hotel to make a booking, and often a hotel might be full up, for example, and then the hotel would just say, sorry, we're full, and then that customer would be gone forever. So I set up a system that allowed people to not just hang up on that customer and say we don't have a room, but refer them to our booking engine, and then we would find that person a hotel room, and then the hotel that referred us would get commission. So even if their hotel was full, they wouldn't have to turn away that client. We were able to then find them somewhere else to stay, and it kind of was a win-win, because the customer ringing up was able to find an equivalent hotel. We would take care of them. Equally, at the same time, the hotel that had worked so hard to get that phone call in the first place wasn't just throwing away the lead because they were already full, and the hotel that was empty or needed rooms to fill suddenly had an inquiry. So that was another example. But again, it didn't require any money to get that business going. Initially, it was just me answering the phone and me sourcing the rooms, and as it worked and as it scaled, then we started making commission and making money, and I was able to then hire people. So yeah. Okay, great question coming from Facebook. So yeah, this is a good one from John. John's asking, how do you get an investor on board? This is a good question. Now, my feeling on getting investors on board is, first of all, I am an investor, so I can say this. You've got to be careful what type of investor you get on board. You don't just want someone to put money into your business. Sounds good, but if you're not careful, they can become your boss. So you've got to get the right sort of investor on board. You've got to understand what it is that's motivating them to invest. You've got to make sure that you can enjoy working with them. And so I always tell people that deals get done for 3 reasons. Every single investment deal I've been involved in, I've invested in over 60 startups. I've started 17 companies myself, and some of them I have raised money for them in the past. So, and the way I've done it is basically by following these 3 rules. The first is, do you like each other? If I like the investor and the investor likes me, then it's going to make the marriage that we're going to probably enter into more interesting and more enjoyable for both parties. The second element, which I think a lot of people overlook, is do we need each other? It's an important piece when it comes to building a business out. And then the third thing, which I think again a lot of people don't spend enough time really understanding, is what is the deal that's going to work for both sides going to be. But if you get the first 2 right, do we like each other and do we need each other, this kind of piece around the financial element just seems to work. I mean, so many people do it the other way around. They talk about, this is the cost or the fee or the amount of money involved, and they don't work enough on the do you like each other piece and do you need each other piece. So I always tell people to flip it around and focus as much as you can on those first 2 things before you get into any conversation about the financial piece. So yeah, everybody's different. I know that. Not everybody will necessarily be willing to spend the time to get to know each other. They just need the money. So Pen, you're asking, what is your most recent successful venture? Well, first of all, define success. I think, what is success? If you mean financially, then probably Fluid. I had an agency called Fluid, which was HQ'd out of Hong Kong. You can Google it. I sold it for millions and millions to PwC, and I built that business from scratch, and PwC, the accounts company, bought it in 2016. So I guess financially that was probably a pretty big win for me, but that's not necessarily my definition of success. I think money is just one element, but for me, I've been involved in building a comic book business, for example, called Devashard. I've done a video on this on my YouTube. You can go and see the history of my failures. This business was actually technically a big failure. We didn't make any money, but I absolutely loved the business. I was really excited by it. We built something really cool. We created something unique. I still hold the comic book in my hand today and I'm proud of it, but we didn't make any money. So maybe by your definition of success, I don't know, is that your definition of success? Then you'll probably consider it a failure. But to me, it was a win. I enjoyed the process. I learned so much. I got to work with some amazing creative people like Ben Hall and Keith Burns, and it's just incredibly talented, nice, cool people. We didn't make any money, so what? But to some people, that's important. You can Google my Fluid story, Peter. You can Google it. You can see the story about Fluid and me selling it to PwC. So I always find it very crass to talk about money all the time. My purpose of being online today is not to talk about money or me, but really to just offer help to anybody out there that needs it, anyone that's thinking of starting a business that might need some support, anybody out there that's starting a business and struggling, anyone that has started a business and is finding it tough in this very moment. I want to be here to help you. I want to be here to support you. That's my purpose for coming online right now tonight. I want to be of use. So yeah, I'm just reading questions online now from Facebook. One sec. Sorry guys, yeah, I'm just checking some questions coming in. Hi Ruby, how you doing? Welcome, thanks for coming to join. I'm here tonight just saying to people, if you need any help starting a business, if you need any help building a business, if you have an existing business and you're struggling right now because of the coronavirus nightmare, maybe I can help you. I have seen this pandemic before. I was living in Hong Kong in 2003 when the SARS virus hit that city. I had a company during that time. At the beginning of the virus, we got hit. We almost went out of business, and then we changed the model. We worked really hard, and we actually grew that company into a massive, massive business. So anyone out there struggling right now, I kind of want to tell you that we can get through this. You will get through this. This will come to an end, and you can pivot your business. There is a way to survive. There is a way to fight back. And I want to help anybody out there that might be struggling. Hi there, Brand. I am an interior designer. My office is local, but I'd like to do it globally. Any advice? Well, I mean, the first thing I'd probably tell you is to think about how you can build an online product that can offer your services globally. If you're an interior design business, my instinct is that's quite a manual business. You need to do the designs manually. So my instinct when I read that question is probably to think about how you can offer up structural template systems for people to design their homes, and maybe you can sell the templates as opposed to sell an individual's time to design it. That might allow you to scale. If you have a local business doing it individually one by selling time, that's fine. But if you follow my advice and do an online thing, you're going to need to think of not just how to get online, which I think frankly is quite easy, but how you're going to be able to manage the volume that potentially could come from being a global business, not a local business. But I think it's a really good idea to think about building a business. My feeling, and again, I built 17 companies from scratch. I'm just repeating this for the new people coming online that don't know me. And just looking online, 300 people on my Facebook right now, so a lot of people might not necessarily know me. I built 17 companies from scratch. One of my recent ones was a company called Fluid. It was a creative branding, marketing, digital agency, which I sold to the accounts company PwC. And so, I know what it's like to build a business over and over and over again. And from that experience, I've learned that, scale is important, and it's actually much easier to run a big business than it is a small business. Running a small business, and I've run a lot of small businesses too, it's a lot harder because you can't hire the talent you need to help you. Whereas a big business, and luckily I've managed to build a few big businesses in my life, were actually easier to manage once you've got them to a certain size because you can bring in brilliant people to help you. Hi Ruby. I am pregnant and having my baby, and basically I don't want to catch coronavirus. Totally understand. Please stay safe, Ruby. Please stay safe. Brooke, that's a weird comment. Don't make me block you. Okay, folks. Well, I just wanted to come online and offer help to any small business owners out there, anybody thinking to start a business. I want to support you. If anybody out there is dreaming of starting a company, maybe I can give you some help. You can go to my website, simonsquibb.com, and leave me a message about your business and what you're trying to do. I will get back to you and try to support if I can. I've got a question from Bill. He's asking, what is the trend in the food sector? Wow, that's a big question. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said food home delivery was going to be big, but I can also see that's also suffering now because they were relying quite heavily on the restaurants that have closed to provide the food. So my feeling is the opportunity might be in what we call dark kitchens. I don't know if you guys know much about this, but I think there might be a business where instead of the delivery businesses relying on the restaurant to make the food and deliver it to the customers, that you have a central kitchen probably staffed by robots that can make the food and then be delivered by robots to people. That would probably be the future business I see in the food space that's pretty safe and going to be useful during this time. And so food generally, of course, home delivery, online food ordering businesses like Ocado are overwhelmed right now because there's a huge demand. I think that's an interesting one. I can see a lot of businesses pivoting into that space. There's a donut shop chain that's now delivering donuts to your door, and they're adding groceries to that list of things that they can deliver. So they were just a donut shop 3 weeks ago. Now they're a grocery store delivering stuff to you, including donuts. So I think that's pretty interesting. So they're my quick thoughts on your question about where the food industry is going. Sorry, the feed's going so fast, I'm missing some of the questions. Tide, you're saying there's a massive gap in the market in the entertainment industry. Is there? I have an opinion on that. I totally agree. I actually think there's not enough genuine entrepreneurs online that can help people, so I'm trying to fill that gap. I guess you can call it entertainment in a way, but I think there's not enough experienced entrepreneurs online helping other entrepreneurs. So I'm trying to do that. So, but what do you mean by there's a gap in the entertainment industry? Okay, so let me just check if there's any questions on here. Well, okay. Oh yeah, that's true. Filming is going to be a problem right now. I actually think that's an interesting one to think about. I think with the film industry, well, generally there's going to have to be a better way to test if people have the coronavirus or not, and then you're allowed on set, and then you're allowed to film. Something like that's going to happen to fix the filming industry issue. Yeah, I mean, there is green screen filming, there is of course animation like Family Guy, all those sorts of things that can continue. I think there'll be more of that. Maybe there'll be more of the locked in a room, everyone's being tested, they don't have coronavirus, locked in a room type reality shows. Maybe they'll make a comeback. But I agree there is a problem there that needs solving. Okay, so there's a question here I'm reading. Hi Simon, built a business and know a brand, but publishing before Corona was hard enough business model. Now all ad revenue has cancelled along with all public and commercial art exhibitions. Where can I go from here? New business, I'm open. Okay, that's an interesting question. So basically, your original business model was based on advertising revenue. Without knowing the ins and outs of the business, I'd have to click through to really get into it. But my instinct on that question is to run some sort of subscription service, some sort of value add service to the consumers. So if there's an art related business, which is art and reviews business, maybe there's a way to do also some sort of commission led transactional home delivery of art business. I'm going to follow you now, but maybe that's the way. So I'm just answering a question I've got on Twitter about what you do if you had a business that was all ad revenue based and now all that ad revenue's dried up. So I actually saw this firsthand. I worked with my agency business in 2003. We got hit by the SARS virus, which was one of the first pandemics that I ever experienced, and we worked with the Wall Street Journal, who were quite dependent on ad revenue at that time, and they went full on with their subscription model and it worked. And so maybe that's something for you to think about as well, Artlist. That I think if you've got users of your system now that really respect it or appreciate it, maybe they can subscribe to be a part of it. Maybe you can even, short term, you can even look at some sort of equity partnership deal. Maybe you can also build out systems to sell the art online and take a commission as opposed to any sort of ad revenue piece. I realise, just reading your question again more carefully, there is an exhibition piece which is gone, but maybe you could be the people that build out the virtual element of art exhibitions. I think there's a gap there. You can create an online art exhibition. Maybe there's even a way to have a community kind of Zoom or Skype kind of system where people will come and look at the art at the same time and give their view, opinion, insight, and so on. Just some quick thoughts. I'd have to know more about the business to really be useful. But if you send me a message on simonsquibb.com with a little bit more detail, I don't know if any of what I've just said is actually useful to you, but without knowing the business in and out, that's a couple of things I can think of. Maybe if you go on my website and just drop me a note, I'll see if I can help you a little bit more. Just to highlight, all of my advice is free. I am actually retired. I don't want to work hard, but I'm just right now feeling the pain of a lot of small businesses that are in trouble, and I want to help small business owners get through this time. I don't want anyone to suffer. I want to also people that I've had a lot of university kids that worry they can't find a job. So my thing is, don't get a job, start a business. And there's so many things that you can do right now. I want to help people start a business. I don't want people to have excuses like they don't have any money. You don't need the money to start a business. I just did a video, the 8 steps to starting a business, and money doesn't really come into it until way into the business build. So I just want to make sure that's not an excuse for people. Stop making excuses to start your business. I want to help you not have an excuse. I want to make sure there is no excuse. So yeah. Hi Sean, thanks for coming on. Thanks very much for saying that. Yeah, I'm trying to share my knowledge. It's I know a lot of things about a lot of things, but I'm trying to help people without sounding condescending. I can see messages coming in from my website from people, so I will respond to those later, guys, when I go offline. But if you go to simonsquibb.com and let me know what your business problem is, I'll try to help you. If you go to simonsquibb.com and let me know what your business idea is, I'll try to support you. If you have an existing business and you're struggling and you just need someone to talk to, I'm going to go online every night around 8 p.m. and be available to chat to people. I'm still getting to grips with the technology, so even now I'm looking around different screens trying to see where the messages are coming from, so forgive me for that, but I'm trying my very best to help. Hey Smile, how are you doing? Would you let a partner do the merchandise for Good Luck Club? I'm open to that. Yes, I'm open to that. I've got a podcast, for those that don't know, called the Good Luck Club. I've had loads of people offer to sponsor it. I absolutely do not want to get it sponsored. I'm trying to keep it non-commercial. It's basically entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. I interview other entrepreneurs like me, people that have been successful, people that have had a story happen to them, good luck, bad luck, how it all works. And so I have a podcast show, and I was just asked if I would let someone do the merchandise for me. I'm very open to that. I think I'm really interested in doing merchandise that we can sell, that maybe the money can go to charity, the money can go to helping the NHS, or the money can go towards helping people that are struggling right now, especially self-employed people that fall through the cracks as far as getting any sort of support is concerned. So if anyone out there is interested in that, I'm open. It would absolutely not be something I'm interested in as far as making money for me is concerned, but I'm definitely interested in it if there's a way to do it and benefit the community. So do feel free to go to simonsquibb.com and shoot me a message about that. Hey Rami, how you doing? I'm good, thank you very much for asking. Nice to see you, thanks for joining. Self-employed as a traveller. Okay, I think that's a tough one. Although I think there's a huge market for virtual reality, augmented reality travel that I'm yet to see anyone do well, but I think there's an exciting opportunity to, I mean, I'm just blown away. I was not so long ago, the Facebook office, looking at the latest Oculus and the virtual reality stuff. It's just mind-blowing. It's just so good. So I think it's going to be a big thing. Tourism, virtual tourism is going to be a big thing. If you guys want $1 billion idea right there, think about how you can become the next virtual tourism business. So people can sit in their front living room and see Paris, or sit in their front living room and see the top of the Eiffel Tower. Hi, yeah, Rami, I'm in London right now, locked in my home, 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, trying to help anybody out there that might be struggling with their business and need some support. That's what I'm here to do. So Yeah. Teleportation. I think if you can invent teleportation, that will be big. I actually think it's possible. I think teleportation is going to be possible. Okay, let me just see if there's any other questions that I've missed. Okay, yeah, there's loads of questions that I missed. Oops, sorry folks. Okay folks, so basically I said I was going to go online for an hour and just offer help up to anyone, you're asking me better to pay yourself in dividends or salary. Wow, I think right now anyone that's paying themselves in dividends and self-employed is going to be a bit in trouble because the government system seems to be focused on the profit, not the dividend piece. So, I mean, it's up to you. I would focus on building a business that just can sustain your needs right now. I wouldn't worry about structure. Be careful of being clever around tax. Just do the right thing. That's what I always say to people, just do the right thing. I have always been proud of the fact that even in tough times, and I lived through the SARS virus in Hong Kong in 2003, where my businesses had serious cash flow problems, and just like people are experiencing now, everyone stopped spending money, everyone just shut shop in Hong Kong at that time, but we still managed to make payroll every month, paid everyone else first before I even bought myself bread to eat. And so I was always proud that we did that, and I look back and proud that that was the priority for me and my partners in the business, to look after the people that work with us. A lot of those people are still very good friends of mine today, and so I always say just do the right thing. Anyway, just do the right thing. Tide, I think you've got something there. I think you've got an idea there. I totally agree there's a problem with the filming industry right now, creating content around that. I think you're going to see a lot more stuff like I'm doing tonight, just people chatting and connecting and creating content this way. Frankly, I think there's going to be no choice, but I also think there'll be new systems set up to allow people to go on set and film stuff. So, but I think there's, if you focus long enough on that, Tide, I think you come up with quite an interesting business and quite an interesting point. I think, yeah, I am on TikTok. I'm a big fan. I think it's got a lot of potential. There's a lot of business opportunities within the TikTok ecosystem as well. Just probably a subject for another time. But anyway, folks, if you have a business idea and you need some help with it, go to simonsquibb.com and let me know. I'll try to help you. If you've got a business and you're struggling right now because of the coronavirus impact, again, go to simonsquibb.com, let me know, and I'll try to help you. If anyone wants help or inspiration on how to get a business up and off the ground, you can go watch some of my recent content. I just did the 8 steps to build a business from scratch from home with no money. So go check that out, and maybe that'll be useful to you. If there's anyone out there that needs some help with their business, please feel free to ping them my contact at simonsquibb.com. I'm available to help struggling entrepreneurs, struggling small businesses, struggling self-employed that aren't getting the support that they need from our government. And I want to make sure that small businesses are still here to look after us all, as they have done for years, when this pandemic is over. That's something I'm really passionate about. I don't want any entrepreneurs to feel alone. I know what it's like when I've been running my companies, having that feeling that there's no one there to help you. You're not alone. I want to help you. There's plenty of entrepreneurs in my ecosystem that want to help you. So please, please, please reach out. I thank you very much. Thank you for saying that. It's really kind of you. All right, guys. So basically, it's 9 o'clock. So I said I'd be online till 9 o'clock. I'm going to jump off now. Got a few things to do, and I hope that some of you have found this broadcast useful. I will be online again tomorrow at 8 p.m. London time. So please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, connect to me through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and of course TikTok. And I leave me a comment. I always reply to comments. Any messages people send me, take the time to send me. I always work hard to try and get back to folks. Appreciate the connection. Appreciate you spending some time with me this evening. It's nice to see you all, and I want to wish you all a very good evening. See you. Take care.